Welcome to the living room, or La Sala, here at 12 Hummingbirds Retreat in Ecuador. I am Kira, and together we are expanding consciousness. Whew. You know, today's a really special day for me and for you, because today we move into the experience of our awareness. And what does that really mean, to move into the experience of our awareness? Well, it means so much that I wrote you a letter, because this letter matters. It is a stage that has come forward in my life after the awareness that has come forward through living the gift of the yoga of self-ascension. And so, beloved one, staring at the moment of my 65th birthday, I am here, fully aware of the vast depth of human nature as revealed through the active energy of fear, grief, and of course, sadness. They tend to go together, don't they? Having been the harbinger of the yoga of self-ascension for over 23 years with beloved wisdom teacher Shri Ram Ka, it has been the energy of peace, love, and joy that have been my bubble. And it was the sudden and the completely unexpected death of Shri that propelled me into the depth of darkness at a time when my heart was screaming for light and illumination. You know, I'm going to put this down because I want to really offer it to you from my heart to your heart. The recognition that when we dive into the depth of fear, when we dive into that depth of sadness, when we feel that grief at a level that is so deep, it is then that the reflection of our consciousness comes out in everyone we meet. So what does that really mean? It means that during your greatest, darkest times, you will learn the most about human nature. You will learn the most about your own human nature. And you will also learn the most about everyone around you. You will learn about those that absolutely thrive in the darkness and wait for your darkness to appear. You learn about those that have been hiding in the shadows, often cloaked as friends, and then only to discover that in your moment of weakness, that is when they strike. And you will discover those that truly love you, the ones that sincerely love themselves enough to be of service at a moment when the darkness appears. So why am I going there? Why am I bringing this up as we are in the middle of a 4-week journey, right? Well, the answer is easy. I'm bringing this up right now because today is the second of our 4 journeys together, and in many ways, it's our first journey together, because today we're talking about awareness. Remember that as we go through our lives, we have the 3 lives that I started talking about in our first journey, and I hope you caught that last week, and if not, you need to go watch that right after you're finished here. Because the 3 stages of consciousness that we emerge through, and we're constantly ascending through, and we're constantly going through, begin with awareness. Now, yes, as we move through these bodies of form, and as I talked about last week, we are capable of sustaining this body and form for 120 years if we really pay attention. We are capable of that, which would mean that according to linear time in the world that we live in right now, if our third life, if our culminating experience begins at 65, then we would spend roughly half of our lives in service. How amazing is that, right? I mean, consider that. Consider that when you are born this beautiful, innocent child who doesn't even know how to feed themselves. You are dependent for everything on those around you. You become aware of your surroundings. You become aware of your needs. It is that moment as we grow, as we are in our younger years, that we become aware. And awareness is an energy that we learn frequently through absorbing or taking or receiving from all around us. So imagine the energy of awareness. Not only just as the first phase of consciousness, but as the first phase of our lives, because these cycles are constantly repeating. And remember, we're moving these cycles all the time. right now on this planet, you are in the middle of your own, let's say, 100-year cycle. But how does that intersect with your whole family? What do you feel when you intersect with your grandparents or your great-grandparents or your parents or your children or cousins or anyone around you? It is that interaction that causes us to feel. And in our feeling, we become aware. And this is why our awareness can come at a great painful cost. This is why when we start examining the depth of human nature, we start noticing the attachment to it. What does that mean? The attachment to it. Well, most likely, I'm going to go way esoteric for a moment here, most likely you stood in line to get to this planet and you absolutely wanted to be here. And through the sacred sequence of incarnation, and footnote, if you don't know what that is, go back to one of my earlier shows and learn about it. And so through the sacred sequence of incarnation, we basically choose where we're incarnating, when we're incarnating, what we're going to look like, right? Where you were born, your parents, your family determines your skin color, your hair, everything about you, everything that you needed so that you could come into this realm and jump onto the awareness bandwagon. So in that moment of awareness, in that moment of growing, in your self-aware expansion through consciousness, we become aware through our needs. Whenever we have needs that are unmet, we are very aware of them. The question is, are we aware of how we're acting out because of it? Awareness is our first stage of life. It is where we take, it is where we're learning, where we're absorbing everything around us, very, very much, me. And awareness is very much about expansion, because the more that you become consciously aware, the greater that awareness can illuminate you, the greater those nights of darkness become light. So how do we become aware? What is awareness? What is all this taking about? What does that mean? It means that we are absorbing and receiving what we need to fuel our divine consciousness, to fuel that which we are, to arrive through that cycle of awareness, experience, and choice into a moment of divine recognition where, as we carry this very specific body of form, you know who you are. Now really breathe that in. Because to know who you are is an awareness that then transcends the ego. It is an awareness of self that does not bind you. Let's talk about that. What does it mean to be bound? Well, through the experience of awareness, through our emergence, through the field of awareness where we're taking and receiving and absorbing, because that's the energy of awareness. It's that energy of me. We're receiving, we're learning, we're absorbing. Well, through that, we become attached to certain things. And one of the first things we often become attached to in our awareness is our belief system. And our belief systems often come to us through our family of origin, through the way that we're raised, through the things that we do as children. Our early awareness is seen through the lens of the child. And through the lens of the child, this is my ball and I'm going to take it and go home, right? The lens of the child is always me-centered. But what happens when we grow up? What happens when our emotions are no longer ruling us? When we are spinning through that template of consciousness, when we can gaze at those attachments, the attachment to this body, the attachment to the way we talk, where we live, what we do, the attachment to life itself. Let's consider that. The ultimate control mechanism, the ultimate attachment is the attachment to life itself. Because that form of life, that experience of life, that awareness of life is based upon that child who grew up knowing that and believing that death was something to be afraid of, that death was the ultimate problem, that while we are here, it is about collection and consumerism and materialism, greed, jealousy, competition. The awareness of greed, jealousy, and competition is a molecule of freedom, because it comes back to the knowing and the recognition, and I'm going to put a hyphen in there, the recognition that trust and love are the same energy. Now, you've heard me talk about that a lot, right? You're probably like, Kira, you're talking that a lot. Yes, I am. Trust and love are the same energy. And in order to become aware of that, we must learn what it is to trust and not to trust. I guarantee your trust has been violated. I guarantee you've had someone hurt you. I guarantee that as you have been growing in the awareness of your life, there have been things that have happened that absolutely tried to crush you, crush your spirit, stop you. And they're all part of the awareness. It is with that awareness that we are able to find within ourselves that gift of peace, the peace that passeth all understanding. To be aware that a peace that passeth all understanding is because we are no longer asking it to define itself. It is that inner peace. It is that heart that recognizes, I am here. I am ready. I am open. Guide me. It is that moment where you remember that are we all not just that little mustard seed, and this is why I wear my little mustard seed. Are we all simply that seed, that little speck of sand, that beautiful gift that has the moment, the blessing to carry a body of form, to feel, to be in the conscious awareness that you are here now. Really breathe that in. You know, one of the things that defines us as humans is our ability to be self-aware. And this is why it all begins with self-awareness. That's why conscious awareness is the next evolution in our divine presence. How many times have you wished for an answer? Have you really sat down and said, help me? Not knowing what to do, feeling out of balance, feeling out of peace, feeling out of love, feeling out of harmony with joy. All of that is that first phase of the life experience. And yes, while we're codifying it into certain stages of linear time, the essence of awareness, experience, and choice continues to cycle, cycle, cycle. So let's bring that into the right here and the right now. Well, what does that mean? What does that mean by we're right here, right now? It means, what has your attention? Seriously. Right now, when you're scrolling, when you're looking, what's preoccupying your brain? What is the current conversation? What is the current belief system that is currently occupying your thought body, your processes? What is guiding you through the day? What are you preoccupied with? Because all of those preoccupations, all of those attachments are what hold the seeds of jealousy, greed, and competition. When we begin our life from the foundation of jealousy, greed, and competition, it means that money has become our God. And when money has become our God, we become a slave to that God and thereby compromise our awareness and lose the perspective of the bigger picture and begin to focus on the limitation instead of focusing on the abundance. I guess that's an awareness in and of itself, isn't it? Because in our first life, we learn about money. We learn about our ways of exchange. We learn about the ways that we all work together, see each other, talk together, be together. We do what we're told to do, go to school, learn this, work, whatever the values are from your family of origin, from the way that you're being brought up into this world, whatever society you're living in, all of that is how your awareness is formed. And at some point, all of that circles back to money as the means of exchange to attain. And this is where those, I like to call them fish lines of attachment, they really hook in. But I have to, instead of, I'm ready to. I'm aware. I am ready to be. And in the trust of your divine nature, in the love of self, in the honoring of the peace that is yours to claim, the joy of living through the awareness of who you truly are emerges. Breathe that in. Consider that. The joy of living that which you truly are emerges. It's a big one. It really is. Now, it does not mean that everything's going to be bright and rosy right away. Far from it, and you know that. How many times have you had an epiphany or a brilliant idea or something that you absolutely knew was ready to come forward, and then for whatever reason you lost enthusiasm, you didn't follow through, something didn't work out, and little by little that beautiful vision, that awareness that you have been gaining through all of this taking and interacting with the world and seeing what everything is out there, well, what happens? What happens when suddenly you're seeing that deflate in front of you? Well, that is that moment where we bridge, right? It's the moment where we walk the bridge from awareness, and start realizing that over there on the other side of the bridge is experience. Your life is the living experience of your awareness. And we're going to do a whole episode on this next week, and I really want you to pay attention because these 4 episodes are really best all together. And when you have all 4 of them available, I encourage you to binge watch all 4 of these one after another, to take notes, to notice what you're noticing. And so let me clarify that for a moment as well, because you hear me say that a lot, to notice what you're noticing. Well, what does that really mean, to notice what you're noticing? Well, it first means that you're able to step back from personalizing and relax your breath, just a nice big sigh, nice relax your breath, and to know that you're safe, to know that you're safe to call in the distance. So how do you do that? I want to offer you that practice because in our awareness, the greatest gift is to be aware that we are safe. Because when you relax the distance, when you relax and you're safe, when you're able to have that awareness from the energy of witnessing yourself, you begin to create with ever greater joy and certainly with a lot more peace and love. So I want to teach you how to be safe. S-A-F-E. Safe. What does that mean? It means that whenever you are aware that you are upset, out of control, not clear, perhaps on the verge of a panic attack, really feeling uncomfortable, whatever it is, you stop. Okay? Safe. You might want to write that down, S-A-F-E. And the S is stop. How do you stop? You bring your hands to your heart. Just stop. Bring your hands to your heart and first give yourself a moment of, okay, I interrupted this cycle, I'm stopping. I am aware of what is happening. I am noticing what I am noticing. I'm stopping this cycle. I know it's not healthy. So number 1, stop. Number 2, acknowledge. Acknowledge what you're feeling to yourself. I'm hurt. I'm angry. I feel betrayed. I'm disappointed. I am aware that I am feeling fill in the blank. Stop, acknowledge, right? And then F, feel. Really feel. Really feel. I mean, feel at a level of feeling that maybe you haven't given yourself the opportunity to do before. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to scream, scream. If you need to laugh, laugh. If you need to move, move. If you need to dance, dance. Movement helps. Stop, acknowledge, feel. And then the E, emerge, expand, lift, smile, and remember that you are safe. Bring your hands to your heart. In this moment, I trust myself. In this moment, I am safe. Because the ultimate awareness of our journey, the way that we navigate through all of the things that human nature reveals, some of them horrific and some of them extraordinary, is to remember to love yourself enough to know I am safe and I am consciously aware. That is the way we all begin. It is the first phase of our conscious journey through this lifetime. It's where we all begin. It's where we often return. And I look forward to expanding it into experience in our next journey together. And until then, please visit IamKira.net and learn more, read more. You're worth it. I love you, and so it is.